Michigan. This is Odd Musings. We're your hosts. I'm Brett Pinson of BrettPinson.com.
I'm Scott Zambelli, and I drink and I know nothing.
Exactly.
As the shirt says.
He are a drinker. He know nothing.
Actually, this is backwards. I don't drink. It's like rare for me.
You get your 2 beers.
And I know something.
Yeah.
I know some things. That's what I
well, you know, this shirt was done in honor of Dom. Because Dom said that to Lisa, and she goes,
"Oh, that's right,
the shirt."
Oh, I forgot.
Boom,
yeah,
there it is.
There it is. Oh, so I got to have Dominic sign my shirt.
There you go.
Hoop, there it is.
Hoop, there it is. There it is.
Wow, that was so white of you, man. Hoop, there it is.
Yeah, so we're fresh off of Motor City Comic-Con and all that. We're going to cover that and some Game of Thrones. But first, let's talk about our awesome sponsor,
yes, we got Lawrence Family Chiropractic. I was just there yesterday. I definitely needed it after the past weekend. And Lawrence Family Chiropractic Center, PC, they take great pride in providing the finest chiropractic care to each and every patient. Lawrence Family Chiropractic offers on-site digital x-rays, massage therapy, orthotics like foot levelers, young living essential oils, aromatherapy, a full line of items, all in a family-oriented environment. Give them a call, 734-697-4244. That's in their Belleville, Michigan location. They're also located in Dexter, Michigan. You can visit them online at lawrencerfamilychiropractic.com. If you don't happen to be in the area, but you're looking for a good chiropractor, give them a call. Say, can you refer me to somebody that you might know that would take good care of me as well as you take care of Brett from Odd Musings?
That's right. And then another awesome sponsor of the show, because, you know, before I was just freeloading myself, but now I'm actually a sponsor. Team Titans of Real Estate. We are now officially sponsoring.
Go Team Titans, selling big houses.
I need to. We want to do like one of those, those jingles. You need a memorable jingle. Remember, like that. Come on down to Telegraph Road. Right
here,
now.
dog. Come on, dog.
Yeah, that one.
Here you go. Here, Jill. Come on, Jill. Me and Jill want you to go to Telegraph Road.
Anyways, that's a different company.
Buy a house.
So maybe we can come up with yeah, there you go. But Team Titans, because you matter. Team Titans specializes in the real estate markets of Macomb, Oakland, and Wayne counties in Michigan. While we use the latest in tools, social media, and technology to maximize your results, we never forget that real estate is still a people business. Our relationships with our clients will always be our number one priority. You can find us online at www.teamtitansofrealestate.com. What's really nice about our website is if you go on there, you can search properties that are currently listed in the MLS. You can even create your own login and create your own search criteria and have things mailed to you as they come available. All that's available through the website. This weekend, we do have an open house at one of our properties over on Sula Drive. It's near 24 Mile and Jewel. Check out our Facebook page at Team Titans RE is how you find us on there. All the information for the open house is there. So hope to see you. It's this Saturday, noon to 3 p.m.
Awesome, man. It's great to hear. Another one of our great sponsors from our host.
That's right.
So awesome, man. Hey, it's been a great week because we had Motor City Comic-Con this past weekend.
Yes.
Got a chance to...
Had a blast.
We were talking during our pre-show a little bit for those that watch it on the Facebook. When you're listening on iTunes, you missed that. But
The Book of Faces.
Yes. Yeah, we had a chance to catch up with a lot of people that we don't see very often. First off was our former sponsor, but still really good friends, T-24. Got some new T-shirts, including I'm wearing the new updated Odd Musings T-shirt on the new fabric, which is really nice. And Scott hates running myself, but it just feels really good because it's me. And but
like you're putting suntan lotion on.
You know, like at least I lick at my fingers.
No.
But yeah, they have some great new fabrics for their shirts. These a couple different companies, but I like them. They're comfy.
Yep.
The nice thing is, like, as you're sweating at different times, because I've worn when I'm been out in the heat with them, and the water just kind of flicks off them really good, so they don't stay damp and get extra heavy. And they're light, but they're durable too.
Yeah, and what we've been doing too is they're so comfortable. Even like they have some great new designs that we've purchased and other people have purchased, but also they're so comfortable. This new fabric, me and other people we know are even replacing shirts that they already have, saying I want it in the new fabric.
Right.
So shirts that are in great condition at home, I still.
And I was talking with Lisa about that. She said that the reason they went with the previous fabric was that people wanted like heavier shirts. They felt, but now they don't want heavier. They want the lighter. And personally, I think these are actually better quality than the other ones in the long run for everything. So it's good to see that because Janice, who's one of our longtime fans, we got to see her over the weekend, and she went over there and she replaced her Palpatine Vader because she needed the updated fabric. She loves to wear that shirt. and she bought a bunch of other ones. They had the new their new coffee line, their Game of Thrones coffee line one, which is really cool.
Yep.
Which people got to vote on. I had actually pre-ordered before they came in. I got the black with the red logo, which you can order online. They had the white logo on the red heathered look.
Yeah, both look
which
great.
look really good.
Yeah, they look really
in fact,
cool.
Kevin Miner bought that one and wore it on Saturday.
Yeah.
And they had all the new shirts they did in the Indiegogo campaign are available now, as well as the stickers. The only thing not available is long sleeve and hoodies. But Vinny was saying that they are going to do another pre-order down the road here soon for that. Probably he's talking about June maybe. So get on their websites and Facebooks and all that stuff. I think we still got links on our website to them, and you can always order the Odd Musings shirt from them too. You go to T-24, it's TEEMINUS24.com/Odd Musings, and you can order the Odd Musings t-shirt.
That's right.
And then use coupon code ODD for 10% off still. I asked them if it still works.
It still works. And I did put the T-24.com website into the thread, so you can link it.
Yep, if you're watching on the Facebook.
That's over Lorangers.
Yep.
I'm putting the links to, I put Team Titans Real Estate in there, and I'm also adding family. It's spelled out fully, right? Loranger Family Chiropractic.com.
Yeah, it's right there.
There it is.
So, but so it was a great time to catch up with everybody. I had a chance to see, I love the Motor City shows. I see a lot of fans I only get to see at the show, and a lot of people make a point to come seek me out so we can catch up. Some buy stuff, some don't, and I love it either way. In that, so it's really, and I didn't have a lot of news stuff for people. And I'm sorry this year, but hopefully next year will be much better for Motor City on that. Then I get to catch up with a lot of artists and friends I don't get to see very often. A couple of things I picked up. Former guest of the show, Jeff Sornig, was there, set up with a table. I actually picked up a print from him over the weekend. He did a really cool. There was a show in the 70s on Channel 7 here called Hot Fudge. It aired on Sundays, and it was a locally produced show, mix of puppets and live action and that. And he did a really cool print, and I saw it on Friday, and when I saw it still there Saturday, I was like, I gotta have it. It was just too cool. And so I guess still put that on the wall. But
it's always great to catch up with Jeff. He was a past guest on our show, but he's an awesome artist, awesome person. His story is great. Everything about him is great. It was so good too catching up. Just of course, with Vinny and Lisa from T-24. Got to see Alan Shell.
Yeah, and I got to meet Alan's secret Canadian girlfriend on Sunday.
Yep.
She is real.
Yep.
And he didn't pay her.
Yep. So we got to catch up with Al. We also
Al had dinner with us on Saturday. It was great.
Yeah, it was great to catch up with Terry Huddleston and his wife Leah.
Yep.
Leah, every time she saw me with my exclusive Danny Game of Thrones coffee cup shirt, she threatened to beat me up to steal my shirt. So thankfully she showed mercy.
Yes.
I don't want to fight Leah.
She's like, I grant you mercy. And she didn't double tap you in the head.
Always a pleasure to see Leah and catch up with her. Of course, there's Kevin Miner we got to catch up with.
I got to see my buddies Matt and Tracy, who kind of were my mentors for starting in the comics. They told me what they did and helped out. Bought a couple new trades from them. They just came out.
Speaking of mentors, Chris Scalf was there.
I missed Chris.
Yeah, he was great. So me and him, time goes so quick, especially children. When you see the children, that's where you realize.
Yeah.
His daughter, it's been like a year and a half since I've been to his house. I go there a lot, but just with real estate, getting that all started, and he's got his stuff going on. Outside, I see his daughter. I'm like, what happened? She's suddenly a foot taller, and I was like, oh my god, time flies. Yeah. So we made a point. We're gonna get something scheduled this week for next week, and
that's great.
Go out to Dagobah. But Chris was insane talent. I can't say enough about his abilities, and he taught me. Probably 80% of what I know in Photoshop and how to paint and how to do all that style. So much of my current success is really because of Chris, because he taught me. He was so generous to share what he knows with me, and we're just truly friends. So
that's good.
It was so nice to see him, and so I know I'm forgetting people.
I got to see Jay Brandt was there, former good friend, former guest,
and then
I found out that Kevin Lee was there, my former traveling buddy, good friend still to this day.
He's putting the lean.
Nora, his wife, came out on Friday.
Yeah, I didn't see Nora.
And she came, and I was surprised. I didn't know they were coming out. She stops in front of the table. I'm like, oh my gosh. And so we got a chance to catch up with them. Kevin brought his cousin Corey out. I found out Corey's getting married this coming year.
Oh wow! See that?
And I've known Corey for a while, and so Kevin and I've been really good friends for pretty much almost 15 years now. And so we, in fact, I saw him. We chatted a little bit, but then I went over yesterday and we had lunch, and really got a chance to catch up because it'd been too long. And so, but I saw all the great people we see.
So it was good.
And sometimes you make some new friends. You see it that are set up, things like that. I'm blanking on the artist's name, and I know he's known.
So there's so many.
The guy across from us had done Robin back in the day, did Superman.
Yep.
And his wife Nancy, because I know her. I remember that she came over and talked to Mom and I quite a bit, and they're from Canada, and it was nice to meet them. And in fact, she even came over and brought us a couple cards that were of artwork of his that were signed by him. I thought it was cool. And
so there's obviously too many people to go through everybody,
but it was a big show. They got the new area there and had a great time. I'll definitely be back next year.
Yep. So hopefully everyone who went had a good time too.
Yeah, I
know there were some line issues, but hopefully they get
big shows like that have some issues. Hopefully they can figure that out. So Dominic was there. I know it seemed like Dominic had a good time. And so did you sell some jerseys?
Yeah, sold some jerseys, had a good time. They always do a pretty good job there.
That's good.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
Cool. So
Motor City Comic Con, thank you for another great year.
Yep, and hopefully we can get Sean Forney back up there again.
And before we get over to Game of Thrones, Brett was able to watch the series finale of Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, I'm not getting too much into it, but it was I was very satisfied with the ending. What I liked about it was the way it ended was it was still all of them together. You get some of these shows where they have to send everybody off in these multiple directions, and they stay kind of true to the format of the show. Was like it was. When it started off, you had the geeky guys and then the hot girl, and they didn't really. And as things went on, they introduced the new characters and things, and people they learned how to understand and relate to each other, though they came from completely different worlds.
Yeah.
And that, but you see them grow over this last 12 years. The characters they really developed really well, and it was a nice ending with that. And you see that these are some people that in real life you can tell they're friends because they really came through in this last episode. But also, I'm still up on mine.
Okay.
Oh, no, I'm spinning. We may have lost it.
We've always lost it.
But, it ended pretty good. I enjoyed it a lot. And I liked it. I was satisfied. What I liked also was the show Sheldon, which is about Sheldon when he's younger. It also had a nod to the entire cast at the end of it, too, and it was really good. So... Yeah, the dad bod, of Thor.
New Thor just popped up on my screen.
So, but so it was really good, and it looks like we might be back on air now. So,
all right,
the
so we
Facebook
are on
Live.
air.
So
good.
Those that join us there, don't forget you can get the whole audio on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, etc., etc., etc.
Okay,
but so Sheldon was good for a season finale. Big Bang Theory, I feel, ended very well.
Yeah.
And carried on from there.
For me, what was so awesome about Big Bang Theory wasn't actually Big Bang Theory itself. It was I love their cameos.
Well, yeah, they had Buffy the Vampire Slayer in the last one. So.
Yeah, that. But even like
Summer
the way
Glau.
they utilized.
They brought Summer Glau. They brought Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica.
Wesley.
Wesley. Well, he came in playing himself.
Right. Well, they always play themselves, but
Will Wheaton.
That whole story arc was so awesome.
And what's funny is he was only on I think 17 or 18 episodes, and but it felt like he was on more.
I think that probably did more for his career than anything being on that show.
Well, I think it helped his podcast too.
But even like the whole dynamic between him and Sheldon, like how he lied about his grandmother dying.
Oh yeah.
It's a trick.
Sheldon. Oh yeah, the big war between the two. And,
so many good things were on there, and then the Adam West cameo. The Adam West cameos, the Star Wars cameos.
The James Earl Jones today is my favorite with Carrie Fisher in that too.
Yeah.
And I like
the doorbell and runs off.
He goes, "I bet you're a Star Wars fan." Me too.
Yep. So many.
I watched that just about a month ago. That came on, and I love it because when Carrie Fisher comes out, I miss her. I looked at her and go, "Oh, that's true, Carrie Fisher." She's like, "James, it's getting old. It ain't funny anymore." Yes, it is.
Did William Shatner ever go on there?
Yeah, he was on the this year. He was on. Will Wheaton had a celebrity D&D game going. It had him. It had Joe Manganiello in it. I'm trying to think who else is in that. But then,
in real life, he's a big D&D player.
Right, and that's why
I think they got the idea from him because he talked about one time how he has a celebrity gathering in his basement playing D&D.
Yeah.
So I think that's where they got that from.
But so it was great, and then it's like it was at first it was like Leonard got to be in it, and then he broke the rules and was kicked out, and the girls came in. Of course, they wanted to come in because they want to meet Joe Manganiello and stuff like that. So it was just funny. But and then, of course, and then you had Kirk was on it. So
that's awesome.
But yeah, it was good. It was funny. So they had tons of good cameos that would pop in and at different times. I mean, Leonard Nimoy had been on it at one time and voice as well as himself. And then of course they had Leonard Nimoy's son on, which was a great thing that came after he died. So I just a little nod to that. So Stan Lee.
That's right.
Sheldon got a protection order against him to stay away from Stan Lee, and so he had that on his wall because it was signed by Stan Lee. And all that stuff. So, but yeah, it was
a satisfying ending.
I was very happy with it.
Good.
It's one of those shows I like to watch, and I'll watch it on reruns because it's easy to watch.
Yeah.
But I think it wrapped up everything just nice and
excellent.
Doesn't take away from anything. It was a better finale than Lost. That's for sure.
Right. Well, very good. So on to Game of Thrones?
Yeah, and we know there's spoilers, and it's the last episode, and if you haven't watched it, you're probably not going to watch it, so we don't care.
Well, or just, if you are going to watch it, don't listen, come back after you watch it.
You should have watched
it. So regarding Game of Thrones, there's a lot of heavy opinions, one way or the other, as far as whether it sucked or whether it was awesome or whatever. Our intention here today is not to talk about it from that aspect. We don't want
We did not come here to condemn the Game of Thrones. We came here to praise the storytelling, or not.
We want to talk about Game of Thrones from the aspect of, okay, we have the ending that we have. We want to talk about it, what worked, what didn't work from a storytelling standpoint, character arc standpoint, and those kind of things. So, and talk about it in that light instead of, well, I wanted this, I wanted that. There might be some moments where we talk about things we thought should have happened in relating to the ultimate story arc that they chose to go to, but we're not going to sit there and try to give our fan favorite ending that it should be. So overall, in light of the whole series as a whole, looking at it as a whole, I'll start off with just a generic spoiler-free version for myself. I was very satisfied with the ending in light of how they told the story and how this season went.
Yes.
And overall, for the entire series as a whole, looking back, I'll be honest, while this season wasn't it didn't hit the level I wanted it to, overall, looking at 8 seasons as a whole, I still give this series probably an A-, maybe an A.
It's still a very top series, and I'm going to eventually, I've bought the first 2 seasons, I eventually want to get the rest, because it's one of those series that I know I'm going to want to go through again down the road, including this last season.
And watching it after you know everything, you do find those nuggets that point to...
And that's why I love, I watched it, after watching the first time, when I went back before season 7, I rewatched the entire series, and I was like, oh, I forgot about that. Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, I didn't notice that. Right. And then certain things that were said, that was season 1, and they're referring to something from season 5.
Right.
So there was a lot of foreshadowing, a lot of stuff that came back around.
And that ties into, too, the people who absolutely loved the ending. I'm seeing a lot of people post, you people didn't get the ending you wanted, so you're just crybabies. Over and over again, people keep reiterating, though. It's not about the ending itself. It was the drastic shift they took to get to the ending. That's the problem. For 7 seasons, they were very slow-paced in the story development, and then they went to hyperspace to get to the
Realistically,
end.
We needed...
it caused whiplash.
We needed basically almost like 9 or 10 full seasons to get what they did in this last season to finish up. They needed 2 to 3 more seasons to finish up what they did this season.
But even in light of having only this season, there are things they could have done story-wise to still get to the same ending.
Yes.
To get there. So that's how we're gonna approach this episode. We're not here to rant and say this sucked or this whatever, or you're a hater, or we're not looking to do that. So let's just break it down here. So let's start off with what worked for you. What was the good? Let's start off with the good points.
Right. The thing that worked for me, especially for this last season. I knew going into it was a shorter season and that stuff. So each episode I kind of just took it as it was, and then I reflected afterwards. So I really sat down and just tried to enjoy the episode, and I enjoyed every episode individually while watching it at the time. The things I liked about it, I liked seeing certain key things happen, like with Arya and that I liked her. I liked some of her journey through this. Sorry, I just got a weird text from someone that sent it through the Odd Music thing. He's a PR rep in LA. He was various celebrities and artists.
All right, hire us.
So, okay.
Sponsor the show. We'll talk about you.
He'd like to talk to us about our show, so he gave us contact.
Yeah.
So, Steve Joyner. Yeah, hey, Steve, if you're listening, man, chime in on the Facebook. But, it's the thing I liked about it was, we knew that this was the ending. We knew what was going to happen in a lot of ways. We just didn't know the ultimate ending on this. Visually wise, it was great.
Yeah, that's for me. What worked was the visual. This is it's gorgeous. Other than episode 4, where they screwed up and shot it, not 4, 3, where everything was insanely dark.
Yes.
The light, it was bad.
You're talking about the Winterfell battle.
The Battle of Winterfell. That was awful.
That was 4, I believe, wasn't it?
Whichever. Battle of Winter. The dark one. The one you couldn't see.
3 was my favorite episode because we had, and this is, I would love this as a regular full season, and it was just tough with it being shorter, a short season that they spent an entire episode lamenting. But it was great because I love seeing it because we saw these characters sit around and talk, and this is where the brilliance of Game of Thrones was in the dialogue and the
that was episode 4.
Was it 4?
4 was where they did the funerals and they spent the episode.
That's right. Yeah, so it was 4. So 3 was Venerwell.
3 was the dark one,
and with them sitting around and. But that's talking, we saw some key things happen that I thought were great and needed to happen. We saw Brienne become a knight. We saw, Arya kind of grow up and become the woman that she is, but also let people know that this is not who I'm meant to be. They were still trying to push her toward being a Lady of Winterfell.
See, I think that's where everything went wrong. Personally, just because if you know what the ending's going to be. The problem is they were still setting up story arcs up through episode 8, up to 4, and then all of a sudden everything went to the ending. And Arya's story arc, I think, is one of the worst ones, only because she was there for fan service. That's what her story ended. Really, if you look at where she ended. Okay, they wanted her to give up revenge, realize she wanted to live, and then go out on an adventure. Okay, there was no need for her to go to King's Landing.
Well, see, I'm not even getting to that point. I'm just dealing with and this is the night before the battle, so this was episode 3 because this is all them.
Oh, you're talking about episode 3?
Yes, this is before the battle.
Oh, you're talking about. I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about after.
No. And at this point, I was enjoying her.
Yes, that point. Yeah, I agree on that part. I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about after the battle.
No, so it's about and we see this Arya, and at this point, she was still like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to survive this battle. Anything can happen here. And she has an opportunity. She's actually told you can become the Lady of, I forget what he was given, the lands or whatever. So,
whatever lands he has. Black Rock, something.
Yeah, something like that. It wasn't Black Castle Black. It was another one, but he's now the lord of that, and he was technically a bastard, and Danny gave him that stuff, which hopefully they still helped because he wasn't there during the final episode. I didn't see him in that last. Was he in that last group there?
I don't think. Yes, he was. Yeah, he was because he represents House Baratheon now.
That's right. Yeah, and he didn't say a little bit in that. Yeah. So, but she had a chance to be basically the Lady of Baratheon, and she said that's not me, and that kind of was how they set her character up through this whole thing. Is she was always not. She always didn't want to be. She was the one. Didn't want to be the lady. She wanted to do what the guys do. She was always trying to do the bow and arrow and learn. And she learned fighting. She was given Needle, her sword, and that. And so in that episode, I really liked this whole episode of we see these people from this different angle, and it was a little more subdued, and we see them as the character, and that's where I thought some of the brilliant writing was in this season was during that turn.
That was good there.
The next,
but regarding that
episode, when we have the Battle of Winterfell,
right?
That's where we see some changes there.
This is where we get into the major problems with the writing. Is you got a couple things where you only have 3 episodes left to tell the rest of the story.
Yeah.
So you have to condense stuff to get there to make it make sense. First of all, the Night King. The problem is they set up the Night King to be like the major bad guy,
right?
Him and Cersei. And there was this whole storyline, but in the books there actually is no Night King. the Night's King is referred to in the book, and it's a mythological character or historical character, however you want to view him, from like 1,000 years earlier.
Which is how they kind of implied it from
Right.
it came about, but then it became a real character in the story.
They forced it into a real character in the series, so there was actually no plot for this character in the end.
And do you know why they did that? So they could sell 1 million Funko Pops of the Night.
Well, that could be. That could be. But so in the story of the show, they had all this buildup of Bran and the Night King and who is he and what does it mean, but they couldn't work it into the end because he was never part of the end.
Yeah.
So that became a dead end. The writers themselves admit they only forced Arya into the role of killing him because it felt like they wanted her to do it.
Yeah.
They said Jon Snow was being set up as the hero, but they felt like it should be Arya. So they just forced her into that role.
Right.
And if your intention is to have an ending where Arya just wants to discover she wants to live and give up revenge, your moment to do that, to save storyline, because every minute is valuable when you only have 3 episodes left.
Right.
They should have, at that moment where in the Battle of the Dead, where she suddenly realizes, oh crap, I might die here, and she became afraid. Mm-hmm. That would have been the perfect moment where at the end the Hound is heading down to King's Landing for revenge, and she realizes, you know what, I want to live, and that's where, because her purpose at King's Landing, she did nothing.
No, she showed up to she wanted to sneak in to get searched, and she gets lost in the city basically because everything's happening, and then she panics,
right,
and she's trying to save some people, but at the same time, when it's all said and done, it's like, well, it's dead, so now she
went all that way to realize she didn't want revenge.
Yeah,
and then from a writing standpoint, they wanted somebody on the ground, so you had an emotional impact of, oh no, will this person survive? The only thing is, Jon Snow was also present, and he was going down there, so you could have saved valuable screen time.
Yeah,
by making Jon Snow the point of reference. And we got him that
basically he yelled for a retreat to get out the gates, and he ran out the gates.
Right.
And,
whereas you could have had him going through the city,
he should
trying to save people, whatever.
Right, which would have been more into his character,
which would have developed that. Plus, he would have seen all those atrocities firsthand, which would have added to his storyline of what was going to happen with Dany.
And being the fact that he is he's Targaryen, and he should have, because he's the nephew of Dany, he should have been fireproof as well.
Yeah, we assume so. We've never seen proof, so we don't know, because not all Targaryens are fireproof.
But he could ride the dragon.
But he could ride the dragon, exactly.
And that was kind of the key there.
Like, if it was me, kind of thing. Like I was telling you, like, had he been in the streets, you make him the first person running through the streets trying to save people. Like, you know how there was that mother and kid? Like, you could have had him, like, shield them to protect them, and he thinks he's going to die with them. The dragon comes through. We think Jon Snow died as viewers, but then the fire goes away and Jon Snow's there.
Yeah.
And the body, you see the burnt bodies just crumble to ash in his arms. Yeah. And then he realizes how evil Dany's become. Like, that would have been huge, and you would have saved a ton of time to develop other parts of the story.
Right.
You know, to me, that would have been better.
Yeah, and then when you see him in the last episode here, he's walking through the city. He comes up.
Then all the women would have got naked Jon Snow too.
Well, they would have liked that. Yeah.
They would have loved that because his clothes aren't fireproof.
Because they would have got Junior Jon Snow hanging there. So. And but the thing was, I get to the last episode, he's walking up, he's very somber, he's watching everything. She's basically it's all, I'll be honest, it's set up, it looks straight out of Force Awakens with the First Order all standing there, but it was unsullied, and she comes out and her
and also the scene in Lord of the Rings when Saruman comes walking out and you see all the orcs and everything down there.
So very, and it was very Lord of the Rings feeling in some of this. So and you know, he comes up, goes by his Grey Worm, and goes into the throne room where she's there, and she's a little kid going, let me tell you the story about the
see that part with how intense,
and it was awesome, and there's like 20,000 swords and
right blah, blah, blah. With how intense everything was, and Jon Snow walking into that room, it felt weird, like where she goes into this storytelling mode.
I was shocked though that she didn't. I mean, this is what she's wanting. She's looking at it, and she walked up, she's touching this stuff. You know, I'm sorry, but if someone as much a polisher is, they wouldn't have turned around and walked away from it. They would have sat down in it.
I would have thought so too. But regarding the ending they gave us with, like, Jon Snow, for instance, and his story arc, it just they've set him up for 7 seasons, building him up to be the moral compass of the show. He replaced Ned Stark as the moral authority in the show. And it just, to me, doesn't make sense that all the way up he was the moral authority until 3 episodes before until 2 episodes. Mm-hmm. He witnesses, according to Tyrion, 1 million people were killed by her. 1 million people. He witnessed it firsthand. Then he sees them executing soldiers who have surrendered.
Yeah, he tells them you can't be doing this. They go, well, we are under orders to kill everyone that supported Cersei. He goes, but the war's done.
So the character arc that they've developed, it just doesn't fit that he just suddenly like, oh well, she's my queen, I can't do anything about it. When over and over again he was willing to lay himself down for what was right for 7 seasons. You know what I mean? So it just, to me, didn't fit. And if the ending you wanted was this, you could have still had it where, okay, after he talks to Tyrion's like, hey, this is bad. Your sisters aren't going to make it if she's queen. All that. He could have been determined there, walking straight there to execute her. That's where you could have a throne room battle where Grey Worm steps in, whatever, make it exciting. Plus, Grey Worm was so annoying. Just kill him. What's his purpose? And then you could have had a final scene.
We talked about this.
And he could have kept his moral authority.
Him becoming almost a major character in some ways the last 2 seasons was unfunny. He's the leader of the guard, and that's all he should have been.
Well, and the whole story arc where they ended up nullified the whole purpose of him being the true heir to the throne. They have built up for 7 seasons how important this is.
Yes.
In the end, had he just been a bastard, it would have made no difference.
Right.
There was no difference.
So when we get him, he's and actually no one saw him kill Dany, but he must have confessed. Because we get a couple months later, he's in prison. The Grey Worm wants to execute him. So they get this council of the high families, the high houses, and all that stuff together. And they bring Tyrion out. And Tyrion is the voice of reason of, well, you guys, we need a leader. We need a king. There always has to be. And he goes through the whole story, and he lets people know the reason he nominates Bran is it wasn't about Bran being the perfect choice. It's because of the story. Everybody likes a good story.
Except Bran had a crappy story.
Yeah.
His story was so compelling, they left him out of an entire season.
Yes, I know. And
they ignored him.
Well, and the thing is too is when it comes down to it, Bran was like, yeah, I knew this would happen. And it's like, oh, you bastard. Right. You've been controlling this whole thing.
Well, and let's get to that point since you bring it up. So Bran is supposed to be Bran the Broken.
Yeah.
Okay, so all these seasons, Bran is the ultimate villain.
Yes.
I think he's the bad guy in the whole thing.
And the bad guy won.
Yep. And the whole point of this whole story was to how bad the original system was, how the wheel had to be broken and everything had to be changed for the better of the people.
Yep.
Bran manipulated everyone, killed off everybody because he could see the future.
Well, he said that I could see the past and I could see the future.
He didn't say that.
Well, he lived in the past, but it was
implied he could see the future when he said, "Why do you think I came down here?"
Yeah.
When they asked, "Will you be king?" He said, "Well, why do you think I came all this way?"
Yeah.
It's like, well, so he knew this was going to happen.
Well, and the reason I believe he can see the future is because his future self was constantly communicating within his own self, going back in time.
Right.
So he's kind of living. It's kind of like how Merlin was in the Once a Future King book. Merlin supposedly he kind of lived backwards, like in that. So basically, he was able to see everything forwards and backwards because his mind was communicating with itself throughout the whole thing.
So to lead to the whole Bran is the villain character when you look at it. So Bran, with Jon Snow, he made sure Sam figured out Jon was a Targaryen.
Yeah, he set that up to piss off Dany.
Right, because had Jon just remained ignorant, he would have stayed with Dany. And as we know, because Dany didn't get the D, she killed everybody. Well, he would have been with her because... Right. They do say in the North, people kind of frown about being with your aunt.
Yes.
Whereas the Targaryens don't care about that. So Bran set everything into motion to sabotage Jon and Dany by making sure everyone knew his lineage.
Yes.
Also, throughout the whole thing, every time somebody called him Bran, he corrected him. I'm not Bran. Bran is dead. I live in the past. I'm the three-eyed raven.
Yes.
But then soon as he becomes king and they say, Bran, will you be king? He's like, hell yeah. And he's like, he's no longer saying I'm not Bran.
He basically just said, why do you think I'm here?
Right.
And he knew it because
Bran manipulated manipulated everybody.
Yes.
Everybody. And he was merciless. He ruined Hodor.
Yep.
I love the meme that says where Hodor's like, I held this door for this. But he killed the Hodor.
Yep.
My money is still on he set up the Mad King to make him go mad. I bet there's more. I think in the books we're going to find out all that backstory and find out Bran put those thoughts in the Mad King's head. Yeah. So I have a feeling all these things come to light. But yeah, regarding Bran, I think he's the bad guy.
Yeah, I felt that way. He really came across that way. It's like even with the Night King coming in to kill him, because he kept saying, well, the Night King's coming for me. You know, the Night King had that smile on his face when he sees him, and you look at it, and at this point, he's still kind of, he's got the white eyes, so he's gone so much. He was inside the Night King. He walked the Night King right through everything. Could have. Knowing what was going to happen.
Well, and he was just, the whole point of the battle, really, if Bran did set everything up, would have been to wipe out a huge chunk of opposition and set up for 2 of the dragons being gone. But the other part that bugs me about this whole ending here, from a writing standpoint and storyline standpoint, is, okay, so Jon's being held captive now. Tyrion's being held captive. Yes. You have all the most powerful people of Westeros there, and they're negotiating with Grey Worm,
who they have surrounded.
He has no power. They're granting him lands and a house. They're all eunuchs. Yeah. In 20 years, that house is dead. They can't reproduce. Yeah.
And then being in the city, there's no way they could grow more food, so they basically starve him out.
They could have starved him out.
They could have had him dead in like 3 weeks.
And they even pointed that, they either said we can starve you out, or we have so many people we'll just wipe you out, or whatever it was. And then, so they make this deal with Grey Worm. For some reason, Grey Worm has all this power because he has possession of a castle that is in ruins. It's all torched.
Well, yeah, the entire town's gone.
Let them have it. They can't grow crops there. They can't. They're the soldiers. They're not farmers. Yeah. Let them have it. Starve them out. And in 20 years, even if they keep it there, they can't reproduce anyways. They'll all be old men and die. Yeah. But so they make this deal with Grey Worm for Jon, but then the Unsullied just sail off. Well, just say, okay, bye, and we don't care about you guys. We don't care about the agreement we made with you. You guys were nobodies. And
even the one guy that goes to Grey Worm on his own ship and says something to him, so we're just going.
Well, and where he's going was relevant because that's where Missandei wanted to go to.
Right.
When he asked her, like the season earlier,
they're going to live their lives out in this place
on the beaches and stuff. So he's going there to think about her, I guess, because, you know, a million merciless soldiers want to just live peacefully on a beach
with no other purpose.
Who have zero.
They were more.
They have less purpose than clones.
I would say the clones had more purpose than they did. So.
Right. So they were just.
Well, you had that, and then you also get the deal they get is, well, Jon Snow, we're not going to kill him, but he has to go and live out his days with the Night Watch. Well, is there a Night Watch? Well, there will be. Is basically what they said.
We don't know the condition of the Night Watch and if it's even real. That could have been a lie to Grey Worm.
Well, I think it was, because what we see is when Jon Snow heads north, he walks through down the time, he goes down the ships, he sees Grey Worm sees him.
There are two guys in black who escort him to the north.
Right. And
when he gets there, there's only wildlings.
Yeah, when they open wildlings is there, and we see our guy who's looking for the big woman.
And that would have been awesome. Yeah. I would have liked Brienne of Tarth to go say to Jon, you know what? I was wrong choosing Jaime. I should have been with Tormund. And she escorts him.
See, there's no dialogue during this point. And Tormund said, hey, did you bring the big woman with you?
He didn't say that.
No, he should have.
I'm like, I don't remember.
But we get there, so he gets to Castle
Black. But together,
Black.
they could have bred some large babies.
Yes.
And Tormund would have been.
But he gets to that. Sansa gets Winterfell in the north.
Yep.
And then the wildlings are heading to the true north. And that, so when they tell Bran, or when they say Bran is the new king, he's now king of the 6 kingdoms, because the north is no longer part of that. So Sansa gets basically what she wanted, which is she gets to rule, and she wanted to rule Winterfell in the north.
And she was doing what her people wanted. Her people said they would not bend the knee again to a king, because she
wasn't going to either. So
but in the end,
she didn't vote for her own brother. Right. She just said, well, the north will now be the north, and that's it. And
so regarding story development and arcs, and the reason to have a story is to have a journey, have a beginning, have an end. But this ending, we're back to the beginning. So the North was free before,
Right.
under Ned.
So the North is now itself again. You have the wildlings heading back to everything with Jon Snow.
Bran reinstituted the exact same council down to wanting a Master of Whispers. Everything was back to where it was. So nothing changed.
And then the people that, the guy they put in charge of the Master of Coin was ridiculous.
Which, once again, that was fan service. Bronn is a minor character in the books. He should not have even been part of it. Just like the whole story arc of Cersei hiring him to kill Jaime and Tyrion.
Yeah.
They were just trying to find an excuse to put him in. So then out of nowhere, they're just sitting there drinking in Winterfell, and Bronn shows up with the crossbow, threatening to kill him, but it's like, oh no, well, whatever, and he leaves.
And then
he's gone, and then now all of a sudden he's Master of Coin, which makes no sense. If there is going to be a Master of Whispers, I would rather him than that.
I think the only one I liked was Sam is in charge of the lore.
That makes sense.
And I did find a little thing. Here's this new book, and it's the Song of Fire and Ice, which is what the original book was called.
Yeah, he's the Grand Maester, or
something like that.
However they pronounce it's Master, but Maester or whatever.
Yeah, he's in charge of basically the library and history.
He's the librarian.
He's the historian. So
I have invented a Dewey Decimal System.
And then you have Brienne, who's now Sir Brienne, who's in charge of the armies.
Yep. And she, now with her, what's nice is she fulfilled the same legacy that her ancestor, Sir Something the Tall, Gregor, or I forget who he is, but Sir Something the Tall, which is a famous knight. He was commander of the King's army. She fulfilled the same role. Now that scene where she finishes the book, that was in a previous season, I think 4. I could be wrong on that. Mm-hmm. Her and Jaime are talking, and she says, she reads Jaime's part in the book, and she says, yours isn't finished. And Jaime said, it's the Lord of the Army's duty to write the previous one's chapter. So she was fulfilling her role in that role, but she also has a personal connection there. So it was interesting to see what she ended up writing.
Yeah, and it was kind of she gave
Sir Duncan the Tall. Thank you, Sean.
Writing. He died. In the service of his queen, which was all true on that.
Which was all true, and also his sister.
And going forward,
which we learned,
it's one of those.
Which
things,
we later learned, had they just stood 10 feet over, they would have survived because the rocks only fell right where they stood.
Yeah. But it's also one of those things where, in the future generation, they look back on that. Oh, Sir Jaime, he died in service of his queen. If they don't know the full story, it becomes that history from a certain perspective.
Yes, it's true from a certain point of view.
Yeah, but like I said, we also mentioned Arya. She's on a ship. She's heading west.
Arya. Now this is interesting to me. Now, as far as the story arc in the ending, I thought she was just there for fan service for episodes 5 and 6. Yeah. She served no purpose. They should have ended her earlier. However, her ending of her selling off, I think, is a perfect ending for her. Yeah. She even says in a previous season, her goal was to explore west of Westeros.
Right.
So she's going to find Westermoros.
And I think that'd be a good. We talked about you could do it as a series, or actually just some movies. A series of movies.
I like your idea of a movie. This would be a perfect spin-off movie. Do it as a trilogy. Mm-hmm. It could be Indiana Jones meets Lord of the Rings type of thing, or Dora the Explorer.
Well, and there's so many other things they can introduce that still fit within that world.
Oh yeah, you could grow. And being across the ocean, it could be like the expanded universe that Star Wars has. It could be for Game of Thrones.
Right.
There's so much room. They could do it as novels. If George R. R. Martin would allow it, I don't think he would. But where you could have it say, okay, this is all licensed under the Game of Thrones name. We can have this expanded universe. Let other authors contribute to the lore and grow it. I think that would be awesome too. I would love to read those books.
Oh yeah, I think it'd be great. To follow those adventures and see where they can go and see what unveils, because there's so many new things they could do that's separate from everything learned in this last part here.
Yeah, of all the characters, I think Arya's story is who I want to follow the most. Jon going north, I think it would be cool if 20 years from now, Kit Harington has no acting career and he's like, you know what, I'm willing to be Jon Snow again.
See, in 20 years, if George R. R. Martin's not with us anymore and his estates, they can come out and say, yes, we want money, so here, make these movies.
But that's where you could have a cool King Conan type story where, 20 years later, we catch up with Jon Snow. He's king of the true north. And
they could have Bran shown as true evil. He's now the Mad King.
You could even go the opposite direction.
And have him come down to be the true king. And
you could go the opposite direction where in this land, winters aren't just one season. Winters can last 10, 20 years, but the same can happen with summers.
Yes.
So you could have it summer.
Summer is coming.
The unending summer arrives, and desolation hits, and everyone's migrating north because things are too hot down there, and it's becoming a desert. And then all that conflict that comes, that would be cool too.
Yeah.
So hire me. I'll write the story for you. But things like that. But as far as immediate storylines, Arya's whose story I most want to know. Sansa had a satisfying ending too. I think it's where she was always heading.
Yeah, it really worked for the character. Everything she went through over the seasons and everything else, it led to her becoming, the true lady of Winterfell.
Although it's interesting how much she tries to mirror Cersei, even though she did not like Cersei. Like even down to her crown, they were saying how similar her crown was to Cersei's crown.
I noticed that, and a lot of things. It was she may not be the cruel aspect of Cersei in a lot of ways, but
not yet.
But a lot of the ways that she learned how to be royal in a lot of ways was from Cersei.
But she really blends the best qualities of Cersei with Catelyn Stark.
Yes.
She kind of merges those two people in her life to be who she is, because she's very lady-like and everything. I think her ending was a perfect ending for her character.
Yes.
Tyrion, I think also. I think him ending up as the Hand was perfect.
He's the guy, and it's been said throughout the seasons. No matter what he does, he survives.
He survived. He is now the tallest Lannister too.
Yeah, he's the only Lannister. So.
Exactly.
Everyone else is buried 6 feet under. And of course,
although they did find they should have had a glass of wine in Cersei's hand under the rubble. Somebody posted a meme showing her hand sticking out with the wine.
No, we got the two lovers, the crosstown lovers that loved each other, whatever, and the star-crossed lovers, what they were.
What about Dany's ending? I don't think we've talked about that. I think that ended the way it had to.
It had to. I mean, you had someone that and I felt this even previous seasons, her ultimate power, especially last season, it was all about bending the knee, and that's all you kept hearing. If you don't bend the knee, I'll just burn you. Yeah. And the thing is, there was like no ifs, ands, or buts, and to me that showed her true nature was, the animosity towards everybody, the hatred she had towards she should have been already there in the throne room. They should have been growing up there, and her brother should have originally replaced, but then when he died, she became the next step. But it showed that she really was this cruel and really was not all there. Her mental being, I think, was shown that before. Because you got these guys that come and say, we're like, this is our land, this is our people. No, you will bend the knee to me, or else I'll burn you. Okay, I'll burn you now. Oh, by the way, later on, Sam. By the way, I burned your dad and brother. So
this seems to be the hot button topic for the people who loved it. They keep thinking people are mad that she became the Mad Queen. The issue isn't that she became the Mad Queen. The issue is how quickly they turned the storyline.
They were
around.
There, but they had to fire it up real quick to get her there.
Like I think this is where the foreshadowing of it really came down to. It was after the loot train, which is now called the Battle of Gold Road, I think, where Jaime, the dragon, torched everyone, and she had the army of the Lannisters there. And she ended up letting them go back home, and she gave the speech how Cersei's telling you, I'm going to burn everything. Well, that's not me. That's Cersei.
Right.
I think that would have been had they not shown mercy there and shown her going more like how tyrannical, that would have been a good start to that arc, so that by the time this happened, it wasn't outrageous. It would also explain why the people of King's Landing would be so terrified of her, because it's like, hey, she did that to them. All that would make more sense in the larger story. Yeah. But it's just really in the course of 2 episodes they had her change.
Yeah, they kept trying to say, oh, she's going to be this, the savior of everybody and everything else. But we'd seen it before when she took over places. She took the slavers, she killed them, put them all, and so she had that pattern already there. The full flip was an immediate flip because her nephew wouldn't sleep with her.
I think another great storyline that got sacrificed that I think will be in the books, but time will tell. It was the angle of Viserys, master of the spider, or whatever they call him. Because
we had him in one place, and the next episode he's being executed.
Well, and they were saying it was so subtle in the show. he was poisoning her.
He was trying to poison her.
Trying to.
And she wouldn't eat.
Well, yeah, but she did look like absolute crap when we saw her, so she probably ate something.
Yeah.
At least during that time. But the point being, he was trying to poison her. It would have been awesome to go into that a little more had they had the time, because in some of the theories I'm reading, one of the side effects of a lot of these poisons is this madness.
Yeah.
And that could have contributed to her turn.
That would have been a good build-up towards that.
It also would fit like a self-fulfilling prophecy where Viserys was trying to protect everyone by killing her with poison, but ultimately caused it because of the effects of the poisoning he did.
Right.
So that would have been a nice twist that they unfortunately didn't have time to
well, and that's a lot of things that happened. It wasn't, I'm not upset those things happened. It was just they didn't have enough build up to it, because they would build up so much story through each season, and fulfill a lot of stuff. And there was a lot of stuff that wasn't in the books. There's some things they added for the show because movies are going to be, TV is going to be different than a book.
But this is also where, had they taken, knowing where they're ending, this is where you have to adjust things for TV versus a book. Okay, if you know you only have 4 hours of story left, okay, let's take the Battle of the Dead and combine it with something else.
Realistically, the Battle of the Dead should have been sooner in the season.
That should have been the end of last season with the way the story went.
Well, the way the end of last season ended with them attacking when he burned the wall, he broke the wall down, the Night King then, it should have started right off the bat with they're here.
Yep.
And went right into it.
They should have gone right into it, and then that would have saved 2 or 3 episodes.
Right.
Yeah, that could have been the opening of this season.
Yeah.
Because they blew through the wall and last season, have the Battle of the Dead. Then that gives you a couple episodes to set things up where you could have, like Arya, end her storyline at Winterfell where she realizes she wants to live, she doesn't want revenge. That opens up a lot of time to explore because Dany's character arc is the key to the end of this. So you have to, and Jon, you got to put a lot of focus on them to develop that turn so it makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel they failed, is they were still doing story development up until episode 3 or 4, actually end of 4.
Yeah.
And episode 5 and 6 was just like that picture of the maze showing the story development. You see all the lines going up and down all these mazes in season 1, season 2, season 8 is like, screw it, and it just jumps over all the lines and goes straight to the middle. That's what happened in the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's our opinion.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's
overall
I still love the series. We'll definitely watch it again someday.
No show is going to be perfect. Ever. No show. I don't think. I don't know. I'm sure there's something out there, but books are always better than.
It looks like we lost your video for good. But yeah, so it's for those still joining us here on the audio part. Really enjoyed it. I did find it interesting reading an article when they got sent the scripts. Dany, what's her name in real life?
Emilia Clarke.
She read through the scripts real quick. Well, when she gets to the table read, she got them right before they went to the table read. Come to find out that Kit Harington had not read the scripts. He waited for them to do the full table read of the entire season. And when he got to the point where he found out he killed Dany, he was actually bawling at that point.
Oh, wow.
So for him, it's an emotional thing, because the
actor who plays Bran, he thought they gave him a joke script. Yeah. He thought it was a joke. He's like, I did not think, I thought, because sometimes they'll circulate fake scripts on set to, in case something leaks, they know who did it. Yeah. So he thought he was given a fake script. He's like, this doesn't make sense. That's the ending?
Right.
Nah, this is a joke script. So yeah, things like that. I'm just going to hit post on there so we don't lose that Facebook feed.
Yeah, but it kind of wraps everything up on that. Coming up next week, we'll be back with some more fun stuff here. We're working with trying to get Randy Zimmerman in here. He wants to come back on the next couple weeks. A little plug for a few weeks from now. I'll be gone on the 19th of June, but Scott's going to be here with
Marcus Concernicus.
Yes.
He's going to be in there. We're going to do a conspiracy episode. Marcus is a conspiracy expert.
I think it's going to be a hilarious episode. I can't wait to listen to it.
Yes. Dominic is looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And then we're going to unleash. See, now Marcus is one of the co-hosts for Dominic on Motown Mojo Live, which is Mondays, 7 p.m. So you can find that on the Echo Network here, MotownMojoLive.com, I believe.
Yes.
But Dominic keeps the lid on Marcus's crazy. We're gonna unleash it.
Yeah,
we're unleashing it.
Yeah, Scott told me about it, so we walked up to him and I said, "Hey, you got to be on the show. I'm not going to be there, and we're going to give you full range, just no swearing."
So the basic topic is going to be Marcus's top 10 conspiracies.
I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, I don't even know if we should probably limit it to 3 because he's probably going to go so in depth.
Well, I think we'll do. We got his top 10. Whatever you get through, you'll end it there, and then the next episode we can have him on. I'll be on with you guys so we can hear that too.
Like, I want to know what does Marcus think about the Kennedy assassination? I want to know this. I want to know his thoughts on Area 51. I want to know his thoughts on. I now know there's now a Denver airport conspiracy. I didn't even know about this.
Oh yeah,
there's a whole thing underground or something.
So you're gonna unleash the Concernicus?
We're gonna unleash the beast. We now, just to warn people, we may have black helicopters flying in. We might have people kicking in our doors to silence us.
Scott and Marcus might be wearing the tinfoil hats and.
We could look like in Signs. Yes, we'll make tinfoil hats. I love it. But I'm looking forward to it.
I think it's going to be great.
Marcus is a great guy. He awesome artist too.
Yeah,
love his art.
That's the first time I've seen his art. It's awesome stuff.
Yeah, Marcus
he's got an interesting
an
eye.
artist.
Yeah.
He's an artist. See, I don't consider myself an artist. I consider him an artist.
He's an artiste.
He's an artiste.
And a musician.
Yes, a musician and everything else. So it's
actually pretty good too. I was surprised he could sing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Does everything.
Yeah. What doesn't he do? Yeah. That's the question.
So don't forget to check out Teen Titans Real Estate on Facebook. Teen Titans. Sorry, not Teen. Teen Titans. Yes, I said teen, but Teen
Go
Titans.
Teen Titans. Go.
Yeah. Teen Titans Real Estate. Go BrettPinson.com.
Yes.
Next weekend we'll be back here live, and then I'm heading off to Denver the next day. So in a couple weeks I'll have to talk about that. And I got some more shows where Scott's got more real estate to do. Dominic, you're gonna be in Vegas this weekend, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Double or Nothing Starcast to a wrestling convention.
Awesome. With our good friend Eric. So until next time, Dominic, take us out.